Good morning. It's Elizabeth Elenor and getting my computer correct. It's Elizabeth Elenor and this is Pause. How are you this morning? I hope you're feeling wonderful. If you are watching for the first time, lovely to have you on here. If you're watching the replay, please comment hashtag replay. Oh my gosh, couldn't get it out. Comment hashtag replay so that we can come in and say hi to you afterwards. Today we're going to start the series. For this month, I want to talk about portals. And portals are an interesting topic, not something that, most people, when you hear about portals, in fact, I'd love for you to put in the comments what you think a portal is, because a portal for me has always been, this mystical thing where it's, this whirly time travel experience of being able to go from one experience one time to another time, right? And you go into this portal, and next thing you're zipped into another world and another dimension and another reality and different time frame. That's what you see on the movies, and it looks like weird, exciting, fun at the same time. Maybe a bit scary. Don't know if I'd go in. I've actually looked into a bit about portals, and when you make the decision to go into a portal, you don't make the decision halfway through not to, because you've got to dedicate yourself. I've heard you've got to go through the portal all the way through. If you don't, you can have some limbs cut off and all sorts of crazy stuff. And yes, portals are real. Portals are true. Portals are part of our reality. We just uh, haven't been given the information about whether they're, a mythical thing or whether they're real or not. But they are very real, apparently. And there's different portals in different sacred sites that you can go to. A lot of portals have been hidden away from the mainstream characters, us in general. For obvious reasons. You don't want to find yourself on another planet or another solar system or another part of the world, and halfway through decide, what am I doing? Or what just happened, and find that you've had a limb cut off or something, right? So portals are an interesting thing, but here's the thing. Portals are more than that. Portals are actually, they're gateways. They're actual gateways to consciousness, to moving from one frequency to another. So you can have energetic portals, emotional portals, yes, emotional portals, physical portals, or spiritual portals. And each time it's a transition and an experience from one frequency to another, right? As the opportunity for that. That's what is important to recognize, is an opportunity for a shift. They're all about becoming more of who you are, right? By moving through thresholds of awareness, or truth, or embodiment, right? So let's talk after a cup of tea. And I don't know if you can hear, but I've got this beautiful magpie just sitting out on my balcony singing, and I've got the window open so I can hear this beautiful magpie out there. I'm not sure if you can hear it or not. So there are three types of portals, right? So you've got energetic portals, and these are the moments or places where the veil thins between higher frequencies, they become more accessible. And you've got, the opportunity to go through into a different experience. Now, sacred sites, like I was saying before, I've heard about Uluru, We also know things like Glastonbury. There's ones in Sedona, like pyramids and all of those sacred sites often have portals to different dimensions. And it's not something, like we see in the movies where you go in and you're in a different world. Sometimes you can just feel it, right? Like you just walk into a space and you're like, something's different here. You can feel that different vibration as you shift into a new area. I remember once actually, um, at a friend's, it just popped into my head. I was at a friend's house and their daughter was acting weird. And it was a very interesting experience because she, um, without going into all the details, but the parents had separated, and the mother was into all sorts of crazy stuff. And we noticed that the little girl, whenever she went into her bedroom, would become a different person. Like she had different behaviors, and so my friend said, "Can you just check this out for me? I want to see if you notice anything." Well, as soon as I work, you don't usually go into a kid's bedroom when you're visiting somebody, but as soon as I walked into the bedroom, I could feel the shift at the door, and there was some sort of veil, there was some sort of portal at the door that we had to actually clear, so that because it was some sort of dimensional shift that was causing this little kid to act and behave differently when she was in the house and whenever she went into her bedroom, right? So you can have them in different rooms as well, like, or that's just an example. Um, Even when you move from one season to another, so solstices or equinoxes. I actually just recently had the experience of doing egg balancing. Let me know if you saw that on my Facebook personal page, where I got the opportunity to balance eggs. I saw a friend of mine um, in America who had been doing it, and she did it in every solstice and equinox. And apparently, you can balance eggs. So this is like making the egg, the bit at the bottom, or when it's usually at the top, right? So it's a little bit more narrow. You can actually balance the egg on that narrow bit, and I think you can do it outside of the solstice or equinox. But when that moment clicks over from the longest day or the shortest day, there's this moment where everything stands still, but it's only for a particular period of time. I felt it when I put the egg down. I felt this shift, and she said you'll feel it like this click come through, and it was real. I could feel this click happen as I was placing the egg down. And it was a really beautiful moment because that's a portal in time, right? Sound vibrations, tones, and mantras, all of those things can be portals. And yes, guess what? You can be a portal as well, right? Your vibration can change somebody else's frequency. Now, not everyone can feel this. It doesn't mean that the portal isn't open. It does mean that their awareness hasn't been able to receive that calibration yet, right? Different people have different levels of awareness when it comes to these sort of things, and being sensitive to them or not, right? Now, we also have emotional portals. We have portals that are doorways, deep ones, like deep emotional patterns can be released. Now, this is, I've written on here before on Awakening Magical Women, where we were talking about tears being a portal. In the Akashic records, they are actually seen. And I've read before that when you've got tears, if you actually, when they drip down, actually take them in with your tongue, then there's information in those tears to support you to move into a different frequency, or to heal the grief, for example, or whatever's going on. The tears have got information in them, and that you should take them in. It's almost like a homeopathic experience, right? Where you're just getting this subtle shift. So, grief, for example, it can be a portal, literally breaking open the density that is happening for you so that you can connect to source again, right? Um, you can have tears. Now, this is one of my big things. I tend to get teary when I experience someone, when I see someone in their joy, when I see a little kid, for example, and they're really enjoying themselves, I actually saw, it's making me think of the little girl that I saw the other day. I was walking up the stairs from the marina, and she was with a mum, and she was holding her little tricycle thing, trying to walk down by herself. She didn't want any help from her mum, and it just made me smile, right? She was in her element, she was loving her life, and she was being this strong little girl, like having this independence moment, right? Those things make me smile. And when I see, sometimes that causes me to have joy in my body and to create tears in my body. Like, who's ever experienced that? Have you ever experienced the feeling of tears of joy rather than tears of grief or sadness or anything like that? Tears of joy are one of those special type of portals, right? Emotional portals where you're letting more light into your body and really feeling the joy. You've also got tears of rage, right? Now, this is sacred anger. Rage is actually a powerful emotion to have, because what it's doing is it's clearing blocks when you're allowing it to come through, right? Because a lot of us women have got that whole people pleasing, we've got to be the good girl, and rage is usually not accepted. But rage can be, I call it righteous anger. Righteous anger is when there's something in, there's some sort of injustice happening, and you're not being seen or heard, and like you can feel it in your body. When I'm working with women, even when I do the 20-minute calls that I do, where I'm, talking to someone and helping them with their chakras, or releasing something that's going on, something that they're having intuitively or whatever it might be, I find that a lot of women have a challenge in their throat chakra. Their throat chakra is the main chakra that comes up that's blocked in some way. And this is because anger and rage, and just being able to speak your honest to goodness goddamn truth, is not allowed on this planet most of the time, right? And so that can bring emotions up. When you're blocking that from your body, then it can cause emotions in the throat, in the heart chakra and the solar plexus, that's causing you to feel like you're powerless, not being able to acknowledge your own self sovereignty, all of those things. That suppression causes those portals to feel like they're stagnant. You're not being able to do it. Not being able to clear those emotional things, right? Surrender is another one, emotional portal, and letting go opens the heart's gateway, right? So this is the emotional portal of the heart, is when you surrender and just let go of whatever results, whatever's going on for you. That's when change really, really starts happening. When you can surrender, breathe, relax. That's part of the pause, right? Breathe, relax, and just recognize that we are not in control, and allow our superconscious to come in and take, create the magic instead of trying to control everything. Those moments can be really sacred portals as well. So I want to ask you a question. What if your emotional overwhelm is a portal that you've been resisting out of fear? If you're feeling overwhelmed, what if it's because you're resisting something and it's consuming you? So the overwhelm is the consumption, right? Is blocking that portal of release, is blocking that emotional portal where you can move from one frequency into another frequency. We just want to always control everything. It's letting go and allowing our higher self to give us the information and to take charge, because our higher self knows way more than we do. It's when we're here as our little identity in our familiar mind. I call it the familiar mind. The mind that wants to take over the show, that's been taking control since dot, right? That mind that was programmed in from our environment, from our, our family, our culture, our society, all of those things. Our mind wants to stay stuck in that information instead of just releasing and letting go and allowing our higher self to guide us to what our destiny is, what our soul wants to create. So what if you've just been holding on and resisting all of that? So third portal is the spiritual portal. This is where people can have internal awakenings, deep meditations. We did it in our Conscious Creator Circle this morning. We did a process and went back to our childhood, where we made a decision about something that was affecting us in our life right now. I did it on Friday with a friend and had a massive shift myself, where I realized that my nervous system had calibrated to chaos, because there was so much chaos in my childhood that my system had created that this is how it has to be for me to survive, that I had to be in chaos, which doesn't work very well when you're building an empire, right? And so when I was able to clear that and realize that there is no need for chaos, and choose something differently and move into the space of it's okay, it's safe to be sturdy and strong and consistent and steady. I could feel that shift in my body. We had to do it with a process, of course. And someone this morning, one of my clients, actually had the experience of realizing that her belief was that she wasn't allowed to have freedom. And so, she had a massive realization that even though she got a lot of attention, she wasn't allowed to have freedom. And so we were able to clear those things. Now, these are internal awakenings, right? Even though they're led by a coach or a mentor, they're still internal awakenings that support a shift in vibration, which is always a portal, right? This is a higher self connection where you're moving from one consciousness into another consciousness, right? Now, what I just want to clarify, and I want to clarify it for a reason. I didn't think I'd be doing this sort of stuff. I got to tell you, I have always been very grounded, and that was one of the things we were talking about with the chaos thing. Um, if you're ever in chaos, if the world goes in chaos, you want to be hanging around me because I'd calibrated my nervous system to chaos. I'm really good in those situations. I'm very grounded. Um, I feel comfortable in chaos. Most people don't, right? For me, it's something that I know so well that I can sit in it really well, and so people find that I'm very calm, and that brings clarity and calmness to them. Um, so personally, I'm a very grounded person. So I didn't think that I would be doing all this spiritual, what most people see as woo woo or whatever. Um, and even if you're on here and you consider yourself a magical woman, what I often notice is that we have been conditioned to believe that this is otherworldly, right? That spirituality is a hobby or something nice to do. But in actual reality, the more you tangibly work on yourself, the more you shift these old patterns, the more you create what it is that you want to live by, the more you step into your creator energy and you take ownership of your sovereignty and make choices from that place, the more you get physical results, meeting the love of your life, enjoying um, relationships because you have the ability to stand up for yourself, to speak your truth, and to do it without the rage, without the arguments, because you are so solid in who you are. You know who you are inside, and so you don't need to force that on others. You recognize when people are forcing things on you, and you are able to step past that and say, no, not on my watch anymore, not in my space. This is not what I want anymore in my life. I don't want that sort of experience anymore. And you can do it in a way that you go, I don't want it in my life. I want you in my life, but let's talk about this. Let's clear that energy from you so that we can come together as, a beautiful partnership. And when you stand strong in that, because you've done the work on yourself, you've spiritually released the old programming from your childhood, the old beliefs, emotional dysfunction from whenever, all of those things. Now you're becoming a whole person. Now you're connected to your intuition and your higher self. And what happens is people find that really attractive, and people want to be in your life, and people are prepared to change and be the type of person because they can see that you're the example. They can see and they want to be the type of person that you are, right? Because you've got that solidity, you've got that strength and that power in you. Those things are attractive energies. So all of this spiritual stuff, otherworldly, is not woo woo. It's actually practical information that can create more love, more abundance, more health, more wealth, all of those things. And all of those things are what we want, right? We want all of those things in our life. So this is the work that is the most important part of our reality. All the rest is getting stuck in the illusion. All the rest is getting stuck in the details and the distractions and holding you in the patterns that don't serve. That's when you get stuck. And that is what I call false portals, right? Because now you've got these things that look like expansions, right? They look like something new, they look like something bright and bubbly, but they're actually what I call mangy rabbit holes, right? They're actually stopping you and bypassing the actual spiritual work of being able to speak your truth, of being able to connect, clear all of your chakras, feel comfortable and safe in your world, be able to connect in with your higher self and have that intuitive, deep relationship with your own inner wisdom. Those things are the things that are important. But we have these other portals that are distractions. So it's being able to recognize when am I experiencing a portal, right? When am I being distracted and going down, the wrong rabbit hole? Often you'll see that relationships, if you're triggered by a relationship, then this is an opportunity for a portal to open, because these triggers are there to support you to find something within you that needs to shift, to neutralize those triggers from the past, right? Because our relationships are mirrors, right? They're sacred teachers, and they're the ability and the opportunity for timeline shifting. So that's all of those things are what our actual portal is the ability to shift from one vibration to another. Now that might be emotional, it might be physical, it might be spiritual. We're going to dive into a little bit deeper through the month of May and look at the different types and a little bit deeper into what portals are. If you feel that you're blocked in some way, that you're stagnant and you're struggling with recognizing why that's happening, you feel like you need, your chakras checked to see if what chakras are out of balance, what are the ones that are blocked and need some support, just put in a love heart in the comments, and we'll send you a free chakra health check, right? So what we'll do is I intuitively, like when I'm on a call with someone, my chakras are going off, so I'm just mirroring what's going on for you, and so we can work out which chakras need some looking at, so that we can support you in some way. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Enjoy every moment of it. I'd love for you to check this week out and see if you recognize when you're in a portal or not, right? See if you can, pick up the opportunity to move from one frequency to another. Take care, and we will see you next Tuesday.